you will see the options or the latest worked up option on the screen in front of you. So perhaps if do we need an explanation for it, or are we content that both the trade have explained the rationale, and are you content with what you see before you?
Want to go all the way along option 6?
I can reach my copy.
What? Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What is it possible to tell us in percentage terms roughly what we're doing?
I'm happy to explain that. So option 6, which is now supplementary to option 5, which is the proposal put forward by the trade. So you're looking at on a 2-mile trip, which is the national average, or the comparison tool used across England, is a 30% increase on the current fare. So that rises from £6 for a 2-mile trip currently to £7.80, which represents a 30% rise. And the other indicator is the 5-mile trip, which rises from £12.20 to £16.16, which will be rounded up to £16.20 by the metre, which is a 33% increase on the current standing. So in terms of where that puts us in the national picture, that's 13th, on par with Brighton and another coastal authority, and that's first in Devon. So we would be the most expensive in Devon and the 13th most expensive in the country in the league standing. So that's the information.
Okay. No way, if it's the nationwide, then it's how many councils there are?
355.
355. I think that's a pass.
Next question. Is there anything in this, I can't see it, that if, not all snigger at once, that if the fuel prices do drop significantly, most of the reason why we're looking at this increase, is there anything in that make up to allow for that or not?
All I would say on that is that the 10%, the 10p per trip increase once the petrol prices reach £1.80 is the factors for the fuel increase. So there's no provision for a drop in prices.
Thank you.
What I will say is, I think that considering we are in a rapidly changing market with these fuel prices, it may be necessary for this committee to reconsider these to reflect either increased prices or decreased prices within the next 12 months or even beforehand, but that's up to this committee. Councillor Pannell and then Councillor Taylor.
I do feel that sort of across the board increases of 30% are too much at a time when we had agreed a few months ago to an increase of 12 point something percent. I think that is very steep. I would prefer to go with option 5, but I do take on board what the trade is saying, and I would propose option 5, but with the addition of an extra 10p per 10 miles or part thereof when fuel goes above 180. And I would like to see the unsocial hours time start at 9 p.m. rather than 11 p.m, which I think would be both of those would help the trade to some extent. I would propose
okay, so you're proposing option 5 as it was originally presented within the document of the reports. Is there somebody willing to second, Councillor? Councillor Taylor?
Yes, I would second that. I wanted to come back really on Richard's question about the fuel, which I can understand because it is economic, but it looks to me as if it's a base of 180. If it went back to 174, it wouldn't be triggered, would it? It would automatically drop that. Is that correct?
Oh.
That's how I would understand it, that the taxis have to check the fuel price, the daily or weekly fuel price, and when it goes over £1.80, that 10 pence for a mile or a mile's part off triggers. But if it goes below £1.80, then it wouldn't. But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Briefly, please, but yes.
Although you say that 30% you feel is too high, I would remind that I think the last price increase that we had, we've lagged behind for an awful long time. It was 6 years ago since we've had a price increase, whilst all the others have been raised pretty much annually. And also the vote which the committee took last time was on pretty much that figure. It was a figure of a flagfall of £7.89, whereas this one gives a flagfall of only £7.80.
Okay, right, thank you. Any other members of the committee wish to speak? Councillor Holloway.
Thank you, Chairman. Do we have an indication of what inflation has been from 2016 when the prices were last increased?
Not off the top of my head, that we don't. I don't think. Councillor Sweet.
I mean, I would prefer to support option 6. I asked about the number of councils because considering the amount of time it's taken for us to sort of get to this meeting, I do wonder what other councils have actually gone through the process of raising their tariffs. So, you know, although that we are up in the more expensive realm at the moment, it might be in 6 months' time we're sitting right in the middle.
Okay, I think Councillor Rose and Councillor Foss.
Yeah, I would support option 6 has been presented to us because I think the price of fuel has absolutely escalated, and we're talking about it when fuel prices go past £1.80. Well, they've already gone past £1.80. They're about to reach £2. It's like £1.96 now, I think, diesel I've seen at the weekend. So I don't think that bears much resemblance, to be honest. But I would propose, Chairman, that we go with the 6 presented.
Councillor Sweet,
Just make a further point. I mean, I'm making the assumption that also taxi drivers in our area, if, for example, they go from Tottenham Station down to Dartmouth or Salcombe, they might well be coming back with an empty car because it's not sort of going city to city.
I'm afraid, Mr. I do feel like we are in debate now, and thus it should be amongst members. So I thank you for your contributions, but I do feel we need to be some members forward. Councillor Foss.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'm minded to go the option 6 route because of the 180 figure. Should the petrol prices come below that, and I would consider at some stage they could well do that. Yeah, I think option 6, and considering it was around that £7.80 figure.
So I have before me, Councillor Rose.
Could I say also perhaps we could consider the licensing fees again in 12 months' time instead of waiting. I don't know if there was a set period to wait, but you know, it's been since 2000.
It's within this authority's remit to review things as and when we wish to. That's the benefit of having licensing committee. But I do want to try and make sure that we do stay in the semblance of order. So Councillor Pannell has proposed option 5. That was originally in your papers, and that was seconded by Councillor Taylor, who wishes to.
Yeah, I was just, if we went with option 5, the 10p would have to be included in. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay, I feel we need to take a vote on this. So that the first recommendation or the first proposal that's proposed and seconded was to go with option 5 with an amendment proposed by Councillor Taylor.
We was only just that we make sure that the NP is added to that on the NP per 10 mile added to that, because it doesn't appear to be on there. What does that?
I'll just check.
It's included within the details of the report. It's not included in the comparative table.
So it's already included within. Yeah. Okay.
But that was originally, it was 10p per journey. We're talking about 10p per 10 miles.
Yeah.
So are we accepting it's 10p per 10 miles?
I believe so.
It was 10p per journey once it for every 10p over.
And your wish is that it's 10p.
I think whichever option we go with, Chairman, I think probably the majority feel that we should add the 10p per 10 mile.
Right. And that's understood within the, okay. Right.
And there's the other issue, whichever option we vote for, whether we want to bring forward the cut-off time for the unsocial hours.
Can I just seek some democratic and legal advice in this matter? Is that something that we're here to consider now in terms of the sociable and unsociable hours? I'm guessing it probably is, or is that a different matter that we have to consider at a different time? Perhaps I'm happy for any officer to come in on that.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, I mean, you can consider it as long as it's properly assessed by officers and the information is right before committee. You can do.
Right. Okay. And you would like that to be considered as part of the right?
Yeah. Could Mr. Easthope explain again what the uplift is when the unsocial hours time is reached?
Mr. Easthope.
Thank you. I'll just find the details for that.
Have you recorded a proposal and seconder for option 6, or have you just got a proposal?
Well, we can do. I think it's supposed to take the vote count for the first option first, but yes, it's so whilst that's being worked out, Councillor Foss, you're proposing option 6. Sorry. Okay, right. We need to take the vote for this one first. That's fine, but whilst Mr. Easthope, go on.
So from Appendix C from the report, I can clarify that the journey times at which cost 2 comes into effect is between 11 for any journey that starts between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. and also on Christmas Eve and the day after. So between the Christmas period as well, between the 24th and 27th of December, and also for the period of New Year as well, and also on Sundays and bank holidays. So that is when tariff 2 or cost 2 as presented applies currently.
And the view of the committee, or there is a proposal by committee members to bring down, whichever way you want to phrase it, the unsociable hours trigger point from 11 p.m. to what time is being proposed, please?
Proposed 9 p.m.
Right.
Could we take a separate vote on these? So when we come to the substantive vote, we know where we're going. Would that make sense?
Yeah, because I want to be clear what is on the table at the moment. So let me try and surmise. We have a proposal on the table from Councillor Pannell, seconded by Councillor Taylor, for option number 5. And at the moment, with everything else considered in the report, including that 10p figure, right? That's been proposed and seconded. There's a second subject, which I think we could take a separate vote on in terms of the social hours trigger point, because I think it would apply regardless of whether or not the options go. We have a second proposal on the table. We should take the first proposal first. But we have a second proposal on the table, which has been proposed by Councillor Sweet and seconded by Councillor Foss for option 6. And that's that. Right, and then the committee would also like to consider, as part of a second vote, depending on, well, regardless of which way the first vote goes. Sorry, this is playing with my head quite a lot here. Regarding sociable hours, and to change the defining point of that, whether it be 11 p.m., 10 p.m., so whatever. Okay, that's fine, but we can decide that afterwards. So, right.
Could I ask this question? Could we not have a vote on those sociable hours first to cover any option that we do rather than?
No, because but I feel like as a point of, in order though, we have something that's been proposed and
Yeah,
seconded. that needs to go
I don't
first.
know whether, just to help clarify, I think we're all in agreement about bringing the hours back. Or, is it possible to do it that way around, or do we have to? I think
Right.
Mr. Fernandez.
Okay,
I'm asking the question because as a chair of other committees, I'm just wondering.
all right. The proposal is,
And then you
What's
do
that?
either option 5 or option 6. Do an option 5 first, and if that fails.
okay, so regarding the unsociable hours trigger point, at the moment it's 11 PM. We have a proposal from who to bring it down to what? Right. Okay, we have a proposal,
I'll second 8 PM.
right? Proposal by councillor Sweet for,
I propose the anti-social hours, which I think is referred to as cost free. Is that right? Oh no, that's the
Cost
HCC.
two.
Okay, cost 2 from 11 PM to 8 PM. I feel this would be a good incentive to have, taxis more available after the evening time.
okay, and then there'll be a proposal from councillor Panel afterwards, presumably for 9 PM. Okay, all right, that's fine. So we have a 8 PM proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please show. Okay, well, there's a majority for that. All those against? Right, 2 against. Okay, so that's carried. It's at 8 PM. That's fine. At least we got one resolution out of the way. There we go. So I want to go. Are you happy with that? 8 PM. Lovely. Right. Now we want to return to the basis for which we are here, which is taxi fares. So we have a proposal from Councillor Panel, seconded by Councillor Taylor, to go with option 5, as in your papers, right? All those in favour of option 5, please. Okay, all those against? Or against? Right, okay. That is lost. And we have a proposal for option 6, which, remind me who's proposed and seconded that, I've lost track. Right, okay. Proposal for option 6. All those in favour of option 6, please. That's 5 in favour. Okay, all those against? And abstentions? 2 abstentions. Okay, we got there in the end. Right.
Can we clarify? Yeah, we have agreed that it's 10p or 10 miles of the fuel uplift, is that right? 10p per 10 mile.
If that's what's proposed by members.
Yes, that was what was proposed. Okay, lovely. Right. Okay, well, that's got that done then. I would like to thank everybody for coming at short notice again. Thank you to all the officers for, particularly Mr. Eastoke, for his on the hoof calculations. And hopefully this now has provided, but we've now set it, so that's done. And that comes into force now. Actions have consequences, Councillor Sweet.